Now for the fun part. We get to do some shopping. And for anyone confused by that, well, let me explain. So, we've got ourselves $822 in credit here. And how did this come about? Well, I took apart my modern MTG collection and sold off the singles to Good Games. And that's how we ended up with our $822. And yes, I use their buy list. I don't have the time, experience, nor really the reputation to be pricing off a collection individually and selling the cards that way. I do also think it would have taken a really long time to sell off those cards because the majority of them were, $1 to $2 modern cards that, would see play in niche scenarios, but I doubt would see a huge demand. So they would take quite a while to sell off. And then you got the fact that I've never sold singles, on I think we use Gumtree here in Australia, TCG Player for you guys and then Gumtree for us. So yeah, it's far easier for me just to use the buy list here at Good Games. Granted, it's like 60% at best. So I could have gone well over $1,000 had I sold the cards individually. But no complaints for me. As you can see, this is sort of what I've been doing for the long run. I generally sell off more parts of my Magic collection and then use it to buy boxes of Flesh and Blood. Too much to my enjoyment because I'm having a far greater time with Flesh and Blood than Magic the Gathering. So then, what are we going to do? Well, we're going to take this $822 and we're going to buy Flesh and Blood boxes, obviously. So I think the go will be one box from as many sets as we can, and then we'll open them up and we'll sort of compare the value. We'll see if the single cards we can pull from these, equate to that 822 or less or more. It doesn't really matter to me. I am doing this for the enjoyment, and I also do like to sort of have master sets. So it would be nice to continue to fill them out a bit. Obviously, I could just buy singles, but where's the enjoyment of that? So 822, and we're at 684, and we've got the 5 most recent sets. Now, this is the interesting comparison to make. It wouldn't be one of my videos if I didn't slam on MTG for a little bit. Lord of the Rings Collector Booster Box, $6.89. So currently, for $5 less, we're getting 5 booster boxes of Flesh and Blood. Okay? The majority of them will have a cold foil card. Some of them might have a valuable cold foil card. But overall, the enjoyment is the main thing I want to encapsulate. We can get 12 packs to enjoy of Magic the Gathering, or we can get 10 times the amount through Flesh and Blood and save ourselves $5 while we're at it, So we could get ourselves a drink to have while we're opening our cards. It's just so absurd to me that people can disvalue their time that much. Because as a hobby, you're spending money to fulfill time. It's sort of the inverse of work. So you want to still get the most value for your time. And the best way to do that is find a card game you enjoy, a card game that you can buy into for a market equivalent price. Because again, Yu-Gi-Oh sets are around the same. Pokemon, around the same. Magic, no. So just value for your money and enjoyment as a hobby. I just don't see how people can keep up with MTG and the rate it's increasing. But yeah, so we're still a little short, right? $822, so $180 is that? Is that $180? Did I do quick math right? No, it's not. It's $140. So we can pick up one more box. Though there is one other thing I'm going to do. So I'm probably going to price them out as best as possible. So for instance, with Dynasty, I do want to pick up a few more cases. So I think if you buy a case, what's that? Roughly 118, right? So 118 versus 150, I'm obviously going to price them at 118. And similarly, we can go to another store. Gameology is another great one for any of you Aussies. It's what I generally use, Good Games and Gameology. So for instance, Everfest was cheaper on Good Games, but is there anything? Outsiders 130, that's cheaper. Tales of Aria is 130. What was it here? 140. So, I'm just going to mix and match till we can get to that value. Who knows? We might be able to sneak in like a box of Monarch. Maybe. Depends how cheap they've gotten to. The other thing, just quickly, Outsiders. I don't think I want to grab cases because obviously it'd be almost equivalent. I think this would be 119, right? But I don't know if I want to grab cases of Outsiders. I haven't been blown away by it compared to the previous sets. I think in this block, Dynasty is by far the best set. The feel of it just is awesome. Uprising, the chase cards are far better. The codexes are great, don't get me wrong, but, dragons are dragons. the main reason I don't is I don't value Japanese booster boxes, and being Australasia, I would assume the majority of our boxes will be from Japan, and I don't really want them. Well, it should be out by now. I think this will be later. I did sort of a look at them, and the edging on the cards is pretty bad. For whatever reason, I think the guillotine they're using, or the way they're cutting the sheets, is a downward motion rather than a horizontal motion. So it's curling the edges almost, or leaving them indented. And then also the packaging has a lot more space than any of the other sets I've seen. So there's a lot more room for things to shake and damage. Okay, so after deliberating on what to do, I've come up with this idea. We're going to open the 6 most recent Flesh and Blood sets, which is actually important to note because it's actually everything outside of, obviously, Alpha and Beta. I mean, Crucible War is pretty much considered with them, so we will be opening a box of Outsiders, Dynasty, Uprising, Everfest, Tales of Aria, Monarch. Monarch's the big one, because of course, it does put us over budget. So we got $822 from selling off our MTG cards, but we are, technically spending $974. Granted, I do have all the boxes I need except for Uprising, but what I've thought about is the simple fact I'm going to have to use TCG Player. For anyone really watching this, I would generally assume you're from the USA or somewhere that, closely watches TCG prices or the US market value rather than Australia. So if we take a look at the different boxes, so Outsiders, last sold, $87.92, Dynasty, $87.81, Uprising, $79.92, Everfest, $64.99, just a bit high, it's a bit of a jump. Tales of Aria, $68, Monarch, $115. We add that all up, and we convert it to AUD, and we get $751. So technically, if I was in the US, I could actually buy everything for cheaper. So had I sold for even to say Card Kingdom, we could have made off with a little bit extra. Not that Card Kingdom sells, so we would have had to get the non-credit price. So yeah, so I think that's going to be the go. And that way we can have a bit more fun with it because we do get to open a Monarch First Edition box. Granted though, I might end up getting screwed by it. So if you're unaware, Australia had probably the worst blunder. I think New Zealand had it too, where we got the majority of the faulty supply of Monarch Unlimited. So there was a bunch of Monarch Unlimited booster packs that were stuck inside Monarch First Edition boxes. And the majority of my boxes were loose. I have a few sealed cases, but I think I have like 12 loose boxes. So we'll pluck one from there, and who knows, it might end up being unlimited inside. It's a bit too late for me to scrutinize and try to get a refund for it. But oh well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's most likely First Edition, because I did get them, I believe, before that was posted. But I think that was obviously only brought to light after it was discovered. So who knows? So yeah. So it will definitely be a lot funner opening these 6 sets. And we can discuss a little bit, but that is the go. And as I said before, we will be looking at the prices of the cards we unpack and comparing it to our credit value to see if we can beat that 822. But overall, the enjoyment is here. We get to open. Again, this is the main point that I really, really want to stress. Doesn't matter if you're doing Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Flesh and Blood or Pokemon to some degree, the amount of packs you can get, the amount of time you can spend enjoying cards as a hobby, opening, sorting, playing with, doesn't matter. You get significantly more value at this point through these other games than Magic. Magic is essentially separating itself as an upper echelon type of game that it really shouldn't, because it's all just cardboard. There is no reason why Lord of the Rings should be priced more than anything else. Why Commander Masters should be priced more than anything else. If they're reprinting it all and destroying the secondary value, then there is no merit for it being a higher price point because the cards in it are, again, that higher power level. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. Gameology. That's where I'll grab the few Uprising boxes. And that way, we get them for a fairly cheap price, 110. What is that in USD comparison? 67, so I can actually get cheaper than TCG. Which is really good, because I think out of this recent block, Uprising is one of the stronger ones. I think the playstyles are a bit nicer. Not to harp on Ranger, Assassin, or Ninja, but they're very much similar. Outside of Riptide, most likely, because I haven't really given him a test run. They're tempo decks. So you're playing the same sort of playstyles, meaning the draft experience, I doubt is better than Uprising, where you can play Fae or Dromai. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. In the long run, I would say Uprising has a better chance, which is another thing. So I do have sealed cases. I just don't want to open them. I'd rather buy loose boxes at this point and then crack that and keep my sealed cases, because it is really hard to find a case apparently in Australia. I mean, I can grab it off eBay or something like that, but I like going through an LGS. Well, it's not really LGS, is it? It's just a GS. Anyway, we'll leave it there. I will put in my order, get my Uprising, and I'm not sure which end we want to start from. I can start from Outsiders, because obviously it's just the most recent set, or we can start from Monarch and work our way up. We'll probably go back in time, yeah, thinking about it. Right, so next time we will open up some Outsiders then, and hopefully we can start beating away at that dollar value and get some nice goodies